I said in a previous video that I would not be making this costume. I said this for two reasons. The first reason being that Peter Parker did not create the Stark suit.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a
multi-million-dollar studio
with a box of
fabric.
And the second reason being, the Stark suit is complicated as hell. Don't misunderstand me. I love the Stark suit. In fact, I'm probably its #1 defender. I love the bright colors, the thicker lenses, the exposed web shooters, and the fact that it's the only live-action Spider-Man suit to have attempted the fat back spider design. It's enough to make me forget that this suit is overcomplicated as hell. Double-lined webbing, blue segments covered in random lines, black straps decorating every red piece of the costume. This costume would be a nightmare to recreate with my usual homemade Spidey suit approach. But then again, I did make the Marvel Rivals suit, and if I could do that, I could do anything. Alright, fine. I'll make the Spider-Man Homecoming suit. My first step, as always, is picking out my fabrics. If you look at the Spider-Man Homecoming suit, you'll notice that the red sections are done with this red dot fabric. I had to scour the internet for as many photos of this costume as I could find, and I ended up finding photos of the Homecoming suit on display. I noticed that the dots of the red material had started to fall off. It's honestly kind of depressing, seeing one of my favorite live-action looks slowly withering away. Well, I guess all Spider-Man suits age poorly. Even Raimi's webbing has started to crack. Andrew's suits still look good. So I don't know, maybe some of them age nicely. Civil War scrapped suit. Wherever you are out there, I hope your webbing hasn't cracked, and that your fabric detail isn't rubbing off. I miss you. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. The blue portions of the Homecoming suit are done with this checker pattern, which is stopped at certain parts to create lining that runs across the suit. So it's not like the suit has additional lining, it's more like the patterning on the fabric is interrupted to make space that looks like lining. Kind of cool, right? Yeah, just wait to see how I feel about it when I'm making it. Anyway, back to discussing material. The red parts are lined with these black rubber-like straps. I could line all my red portions with black plastadipped foam, but I figured that I'd just be making another Spider-Man costume that ages horribly after a few years. I think I'll stick to making stuff out of fabric. Alright, now that I've reviewed the materials of the Stark suit, let's look at what I'll be using to make it. I'll be using clear dot red and clear dot blue for the base colors. I'll also be using regular black spandex for the black straps. I needed 2 yards of both red and blue, and a single yard for the black fabric, meaning I bought a total of 5 yards for this suit, and that puts me at about $108.67. Jesus Christ. Anyway, let's get to covering up my monetary pain with the joy of creation. Making the mask was a motherfucker. It starts with drawing out the web pattern over my fabric. I wanted to use Sharpie for the webs because not only would it make my life easier, it would also achieve a faded look for the webs eventually. The webs of the Homecoming suit can be hard to see sometimes, and that's one of the things I see people complaining about the most when they talk about MCU Spider-Man's costumes. And after a while, the Sharpie webbing on my suit will eventually become harder and harder to see, just like the real thing. Plus, I'd rather have my webbing eventually fade than eventually crack like puff paint does. Anyway, I cut out the drawn over pieces and sewed them into a mask. The next step is creating the lenses, which was a process so complicated I had to remake my mask 3 separate times. The first set of lenses were okay. They were a tad too bulky, and it made my mask look like I was permanently squinting. I had to go back to the drawing board to try again. After being so pissed that I had to make the mask again, I made a mask that was completely lopsided. Not only were the lenses uneven, but their placement on the mask left something to be desired. I took a day break after this failure. I came back to make the mask again, accepting that failure is always a possibility, and that learning from failure is the only way to grow. I also took a different approach to the lenses. Before, I had been double layering the lenses to achieve the shuttered look that the Homecoming lenses have. On my first mask, I used an extra thin foam for my outer layers, which was so easy to rip when gluing, it resulted in these cracks on my first attempt. On my second attempt, I used a thicker foam, and while it may have been more durable, it just wasn't the look I wanted. I decided to stop trying to double layer the lenses. I cut out the lens shape that I wanted, and just cut the lines into the foam. That was enough for me, resulting in my third and final mask. I know some of you guys haven't been satisfied with my masks in this series. Me too, personally. Ever since I stopped using face shells after the Raimi black suit recreation, people have been begging me to bring them back. Here's the thing about face shells. I don't know how to make them, and they're fucking expensive. I will be $130 into a suit, and some guy in my comments will tell me that my mask was so dog shit that I should have shelled out an extra $150 so I could get myself a face shell. Look, I understand. I don't always make perfect masks, but I can't always get a face shell whenever I want to make a costume. I didn't even buy the Raimi face shells. I won them in a fucking giveaway. So before you tell me to spend more than what this video will earn, go get hit by a train or something. Anyway, if you guys want me to get super rich so I can buy 1 million face shells, please use my Fortnite creator code, AmazingPSM, when you make purchases in Fortnite. Making the shirt was one of the easier parts of making this costume. It was just a matter of transferring the design of the torso and arms onto my shirt pattern. This is where I began to notice certain things about the design of the Homecoming suit. The blue lines on the shirt actually base themselves off of the web pattern on the red segments, which is kind of cool because it takes the web pattern and it brings it out onto the blue sections. I love when Spider-Man designs do this, and I've only seen it done a few times, like in this piece of concept art from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, or in this Spider-Man fan art by CL Fife on Twitter. It's such a cool idea. Anyway, too bad the Homecoming design completely gives up on this idea after the front of the costume. The lining on the front just turns into diagonal lining on the back, which I assume is only meant to highlight the V-taper of the wearer. Sorry, I got distracted again. Back to making the damn thing. Since my shirt was all sketched out, I just had to replicate the different pieces in fabric, which was easy enough. I decided that the lining of the suit would be done in black puff paint, since the lining of the costume is more visible than the web lining on the costume. So I chose something with more substance than Sharpie. The logo is nothing special. I simply sketched it out on paper, recreated it in foam, sprayed it with Plastidip, and then glued it onto the chest of my costume. The front of the shirt was done. And here's the back logo. I don't have anything snarky to say about making it. Here it is. But you know what I do have something to say about? Making the goddamn pants. If I didn't have the Spider-Man video game with the photo mode, making these pants would have been fucking impossible. The lining on them is completely ridiculous. I had to sit here, staring at Spider-Man's legs, 4 hours, just to make sure I got them right. And in the end, I'm not even sure that I did. When I was trying to figure out how the lining works, it felt like I was trying to decipher the deranged scribbles of a 2-year-old. This isn't detailing with intention or purpose. It's all random bullshit with no rhyme or reason. Here is the sketch recreation that I did of the legging pattern. Does this make any sense to you? I turned that digital sketch into a full-size pants pattern, and once that was done, I painted the lines onto my blue fabric, one for each leg. Once the pieces were dry, they were sewn together, and I was eternally grateful that I would never have to make the Homecoming pants again. Making the boots was a walk in the park compared to making the leggings. All I had to do was sew this black strap across the top of them and do my usual webbing work. I have to say, making costumes like the sensational Spider-Man suit and the Rivals suit have really made me comfortable with sewing intricate straps onto my costumes. I remember thinking about how bullshit it was going to be to have to sew in all these complex shapes. But after a while, it's something I began to get comfortable with. All you need is the right amount of pins. And before you ask, yes, the boots have shoes on the inside of them, just like the last installment of the series did. Anyway, once that was done, making the gloves was probably the easiest part of this whole thing. I drew out the web pattern and sewed the gloves together. You would think that I'd be done here, but there's more stuff to do. You see, the homecoming suit has web shooters on the outside. I have some homecoming web shooters of my own, but both pairs are inaccurate in different ways, so I figured I'd just dedicate an afternoon to making my own pair. Making prop web shooters has always been really easy for me. It's all about cutting out a piece of foam that can wrap around your wrist. This piece of foam has several layers added to it to mimic the bulkiness of the homecoming web shooters. Anyway, with a little more detail work, the web shooters were done. I remember seeing a comment on my sensational Spider-Man video that noted how my web shooter triggers would float away from my hands during use. I accounted for that with these new web shooters, which use snap buttons under the triggers to keep the stems flush with my gloves, even when I'm not pretending to fire webs. I know that I flew through this segment of the video, and some of you folks at home probably wish I was more in depth, so you could learn how to make your own prop Spider-Man web shooters. Well, you know what? If this video gets 7,000 likes, I'll make you a damn tutorial on them. How does that sound? Anyway, hit that goddamn like button. Alright, we're almost done. There's only one more thing to do with this costume, and that's adding more foam bullshit. The Spider-Man Homecoming suit has refill cartridges on the belt of the costume, which means that mine does too. Originally, I was going to make these refill carts detachable and able to be swapped out with the web carts on the web shooters via Velcro. But I figured that'd be too much work for a prop that doesn't do anything, and what if I lost a refill cartridge at a con? To hell with it. Just glue them on, after I get them ready of course. All I did was spray paint my foam rectangles silver, glue a red track onto the ends of them, cut them out into 6 pieces, and then I finally glued them on. And with that, the Spider-Man Homecoming suit was complete. Guys, I really didn't want to make this video today, but there's something really important that I have to address. Tony Stark groomed me. He came to my house, threatened me with knowledge of my secret identity, and then he bribed me with this incredible $1 million costume. And he told me that if I didn't go to Germany to go fight Captain America with him, he was going to tell he was going to reveal my secret identity to the world. And you know what? I had to. I went to Germany. I fought Captain America. I had a shipping container dropped on me. And all for what? Tony Stark's endless feud with the Avengers. And little old me, a fully grown adult, gets left behind in the rubble of Tony Stark's finagling. I have been through so much emotional distress and turmoil since I met Tony Stark, and sometimes it seems like there's nothing I can do to make things better. Except you can if you donate to my GoFundMe in the link in the description, and you subscribe to my channel for my next video, How Nick Fury Groomed Me. Man, that suit was such a doozy, but I finished it. And you know what? I think I did a decent job, especially when you look back at some of my previous suit replicas. There's something about seeing all these suits together that makes me feel real proud of myself. But I'm still $108 in the hole. And I messed up the mask twice. And it wouldn't have been such a goddamn pain if this wasn't the most over-designed suit in the world. And this video won't even do all that well anyway. People will just ignore the video and yell at me to do some other suit they'll just ignore. You know what? I hate this over-designed crap. This double-lined dog shit. This black-strapped bull fuckery. I hate the Stark suit.
Good news, Peter. Your video on Tony has reached 1 million views.
Oh my god, 1 million views? Wow, nice. Thanks for the update, Karen. Well, if it isn't the man of the hour, Iron Man.
Kid, why are you calling me a groomer on your YouTube channel?
Oh, come on, you're really mad about my little video?
You put my reputation on the line. Everybody thinks I'm a pedophile.
You guys practically do whatever you want as the Avengers. You're allowed to drop an entire country out of the sky back onto the Earth, and I can't make a little video to try to make some money? Please.
They're calling me a pedophile.
You'll live.
You can't come back from being called a groomer. You know what? Give me the suit back. I'm taking the suit away again, Parker. It's mine. Give it to me. Yeah, real mature. Fucking stupid-ass teenager.